What's up YouTube? I'm Joe. You're watching my channel Ink&Iron, and we're continuing the Multi-Tool Showdown series with bottle openers. This is kind of a weird one. I learned a lot more about bottle openers than I ever knew before doing this video. Allow me to just give you a precursor on bottle openers and how I'm going to talk about them in the video so that it makes more sense while I'm narrating what I'm doing later on here. So here's a bottle. Jarritos fruit punch flavor, right? Not a twist off cap, regular old bottle cap on here. Here's a like bartender style bottle opener. I got this when I was a bartender. Right here, the part that actually gets underneath the cap, it's called the tooth. So here's the tooth. This part is the fulcrum because all of the pressure is going to be pivoting right there at the fulcrum. And then there's the lever, which is the handle that applies leverage. So to make this a little bit larger, my hand in this case is the lever, right? Here's a gigantic bottle opener. It's a giant bottle cap, right? So we have our fulcrum right here on our multi-tools and the tooth down below. What we want is what we're seeing right here. This sort of perfect contact between the tooth and the fulcrum simultaneously on the cap lid. This will give us maximum leverage to pry the cap off. We run into trouble when we have little tiny tools like this guy on the squirt, which the tooth is nowhere near the bottom of the bottle cap. Now you have to angle it severely. So you'll see how that affects performance in the upcoming video. But for now, let's get to it. First opener is the Roxon Storm S801S model. This has a bonus feature of having sort of a convenient tab lifter, so that's nice. And the bottle opener itself is okay. It does slip once, as you can see. It has two teeth at the bottom, which are a little tough to set because the fulcrum is very long. This is kind of middle of the road. Onto the Victorinox Explorer. This is the standard width bottle opener that you will find on most Victorinox models of the 89mm variety. As you can see, it doesn't slip, works just like it should, good ratio of bottom of the fulcrum to the start of the tooth. And now the Gerber Suspension Next model. Its bottle opener is below its can opener on this tool. It does slip once as I used it, but it got the job done. I'd say average performance. Now we move on to the Leatherman Surge, very popular model. Its can opener serves as its bottle opener, and it does require a little bit more user knowledge. See if you can see what I'm doing wrong here. I'm going to struggle with this for a minute. I'm trying to seat the tooth, and I can't seem to get the fulcrum to touch the top of the bottle cap. So what ends up being my problem is that I did not splay the handles out. The bottom handle of the multi-tool is contacting the glass bottle, so I am not able to fully seat the cap lifter. You'll see me figure it out here in just a second after I scratch the ever-loving crap out of the bottle cap. Fling the handles open. There we go, get a shot of how that looks. It did slip once after that, unfortunately, but it did manage to pry the cap off. So as long as you know how to use this one, it seems to perform about average. Moving on to the Gerber Dime. In my opinion, this is one of the more convenient bottle openers available on a multi-tool. You don't have to open anything, simply seat that very wide tooth on your bottle cap and pry it up. Really, the only disadvantage is the very high angle you hit by the time you open the bottle cap, but that's more of a nitpick. I think it performed very well. Next up, another winner of a small multi-tool. This is the Leatherman CS, and this one also has an external cap lifter. This one works in reverse. The fulcrum and the lever, or handle of the tool, are one and the same, so you seat the tooth on the far side of the bottle cap and push the handle down into the lid. It has the bonus of retaining the cap using the carabiner spring. So kind of interesting there. One of the better performers. I was surprised. Now time for the SOG Power Access Deluxe dedicated cap lifter tool. This one has a fatal flaw that won't be immediately obvious, but the tooth, as you might see right there in the light, is tapered on one side. I'm not sure why they had a taper. It causes the tool to slip twice as I try and pry this cap off. Ultimately it got it done, but was one of the worst performers. Here's one of the better performers, the Rake LD51B cap lifter. Very reminiscent of a Victorinox design, a little bit wider, and it does have a tapered tooth, but unlike the SOG tool, it doesn't seem to affect its performance. There's still a good ratio between the fulcrum and where the tooth can pry up the lid. It performed very well. Here's another crowd favorite multi-tool, the Leatherman Free P4. This one, as you might be able to tell, the fulcrum is extremely long, and though I didn't count it as a skip, as I go to seat the tooth on the bottle, it skids off. This is because the fulcrum is so long, it's hard to get the tooth on the bottle cap before you're actually prying it up already. It performed okay. Let's call it average. Moving on, we have the SWIZZA D10 multi-tool here. This is a knife-based tool. Now, this looks like a very generous cap lifter, although it has some fatal flaws, which you'll see happening here as it slips 5 times. The fulcrum's very long, the tooth is tapered, and the tool is very thin overall. It really struggles to seat on the bottom of the bottle cap and pry it up. I was surprised. I thought this big tool was going to lend itself to good performance like the Rake, but no dice. Now we have the Gerber Center Drive cap lifter. This is a very robust tool, also acts as a pry tool, and this is where I realized that Gerber's not really messing around with their cap lifters. These guys must drink a lot of beer or maybe sodas, I don't know. But this very wide tooth at the bottom sits very well, and because this pry part actually bends down towards the cap, it helps with leverage immediately as soon as you start prying, so performed excellently. Last but not least is the Leatherman Squirt PS4. I learned a lot from using this cap lifter after the Gerber Dime and the Leatherman CS, in that this one is far too small. I suddenly understand why the other tools are external. As you can see, the severe angle I'm taking just to get the tooth seated is because I have a bad ratio between where the fulcrum begins and where the tooth begins. So I have to take this angle in order to actually start prying the cap up. In the process of prying the cap up, I slip 3 times. So yeah, suddenly the external cap lifters on the CS and the Gerber Dime make a lot of sense. Alright, it got the job done, but wasn't great. I hope you enjoyed my color commentary on bottle openers. So let's just conclude by saying some performed better than others, all got the job done. I think my top 3 favorites are going to be the Victorinox standard bottle opener style, the Rake bottle opener style performed surprisingly well, and then the Gerber Center Drive. Yeah, they all feature that simultaneous fulcrum seating and tooth seating right there. You can barely see any light in between the cap and the opener. That is the success that all of those had. The 3 worst ones, the SOG Power Access Deluxe for sure. This tiny little tooth slipped off all the time. The SWIZZA D10, this slipped so many times. That tapered tooth here really didn't help it out. And then the Squirt PS4, just too small to get the job done easily. It will get it done, but not very easily. Okay, and that's been the Bottle Opener Showdown. Thank you for joining me. I've been Joe. You've been watching my channel, Ink&Iron. For more multi-tool showdown videos, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get my notifications because a lot more of these are coming. Still got to do saws, scissors, knives, can openers, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be really fun. Hope you'll join me. I also do fountain pens and knives. If you're interested, go check out my channel. All right, I've been Joe. You've been watching Ink&Iron. Catch you on the next one. Bye.